You are watching Andrew Richter, the television show. Always great that you let me and company into your home every Thursday night, Channel 19, 6 p.m. replayed at 2 a.m. and 10 a.m. on Friday. And judging by my ratings, you're watching in droves. And if you've been watching for the last couple of months at least, we've been looking at parts of government, locally non-elected parts of government, things that are affecting our lives and affecting our communities right here. And part of the reason I didn't shave today is I'm in a gruff mood. I'm gruff and I'm in a gruff mood because there is something coming our way, and in some cities it's already here, called complete streets. Now you might have noticed some of the streets the last few years getting restriped, getting walking and bike lanes added. Well, that's all by design, and it's all a top-down policy from the powers that be pushing this down on our local communities. And with me to discuss this, as always, the local government extraordinaire, Mr. Jason Bradley. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
That's right. I did 70 shows without you. This is show number 126. Been on a whole bunch of times since then.
I was that convincing. Yeah. What can I say?
Making up for it. Well, Jason, why don't you start us off here by telling the audience, what is Complete Streets? Where did it start? Who's pushing it? Give us a little background on it.
All right. Well, I'm going to sound like a broken record for a lot of this because, surprise, surprise, it's the same people every time. First of all, Complete Streets, it integrates physical activity into daily routines. So through walking and biking and transit. I don't know why that's in with this active lifestyle. Taking transit is physical activity. I mean,
so driving isn't physical activity, but riding a bus is.
Apparently, yes. Okay. I guess you must walk to get to the bus stop.
I suppose.
It also increases quality of life. It builds safer and stronger communities. No, it really doesn't do that either. No. But that's what they say it does. And it is coming from not your local government. Oh, sure, they may have a policy, but it comes from much higher up the chain. Again, we're looking to the Metro Council. We're looking to the state government. We're looking to the federal government. We're looking to Agenda 21 again, because these are the places where it originates. The Department of Urban Housing and Development and Department of Transportation provide federal dollars if you do what they want you to do the way they want you to do it.
Right, and it goes with MnDOT too here in Minnesota Department of Transportation. It's commonly called MnDOT. I'm sure people have heard of it. They have their own Complete Streets policy too, and it's, when you listen, you want some more information, go to mncompletestreets.org, which is sort of this Minnesota coalition, and there's a national one too, but the Minnesota one is what we see, I think, being implemented around here a lot. And they say a lot of the same stuff you just said.
Yeah.
Magically, they all say the same thing. And have, it's unbelievable.
Every website, it's the same language. It's like, if I was to do that on a history paper, they would call it plagiarism, and I would have got a bad grade.
Right.
Who knew? I should have went into government.
You'd gotten expelled, yeah. But some of the things they say as benefits, if you look at, go to Complete Streets, mncompletestreets.org, they actually have like a local toolkit on how to implement this. And we'll get into how it's being implemented in a little bit, but here's some things they quote. Safety. The core reason for Complete Streets is to improve safety for all road users. In the past decade, I assume that's 2000 to 2010, 500 pedestrians and bicyclists have been killed on Minnesota roads. Well, on what roads? I mean, what were they doing? There's no information. Did somebody ride out in the middle of Highway 94? How do we know that changing our streets, our main streets, are going to result in fewer bicyclists getting killed? If you're a stupid bicyclist, if you're a bicyclist and you make a mistake, It doesn't matter how many lanes of traffic there are, does it?
No, it doesn't. And that's the thing with these studies. They throw all these figures at you, and they don't once put in a footnote or tell you where they got this information from. So it could be pie in the sky stuff. It could be, well, we envision that this much stuff is happening. Or, maybe that many people are dying. But as we know, if you've ever driven downtown, bicyclists run through red lights all the time. They pass you on the right as you're trying to turn, right? They're not the most car-conscious crowd out there.
Yeah, well, that's true. And the other thing, you talk about quoting statistics. This statistic, I just can't buy this statistic. According to them, 40% of Minnesotans do not drive. Now, of course, they're including children, which I don't know should we give kids a driver's license? I mean, I don't know that that's seniors, people with disabilities. Well, they don't walk and bike either.
No.
I'll give you an example. My grandma, for example, who's in assisted living, she doesn't bike anywhere.
No.
So a complete street's not going to do anything for her. We pick her up, we take her places, we drive a car. Okay, she doesn't take mass transit. So I don't understand how and they use this as some sort of vehicle to get you to feel bad, and we can have streets that ensure everyone can use them. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, well, it sounds good on the surface.
Yeah.
I mean, if a city wants to make life more attractive for its citizens so that they can get out, enjoy the city and whatever, I think that's great. Build your sidewalks, build your bike paths, whatever. But this is top down, and it's coming from the state government. This isn't some great idea somebody had locally to make your community more attractive. And what it's meant to do is make driving unattractive.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to get to the point here.
And like you said about cities, there may be cities where something like this makes sense. I mean, I think of being down by the U, where there are year-round people walking everywhere.
Yep.
There might be places where there's like the Mall of America. Maybe it makes sense around there. Maybe it makes sense around a hospital or something like that. I mean, there are places where something like this at a local level could be say, hey, you know what? There's some places where there are more walkers than drivers.
Right.
But it doesn't work everywhere.
No, and it's part of the whole movement to try and restrict where people go and how they get there. It's supposed to give us more options when traveling. Really, how else am I going to get to Eden Prairie if I want to go to Eden Prairie than by driving? I'm not taking a bus and I'm not biking. That's for sure. And say, I have to go play my guitar at some place down in. I'm not gonna push my amp down the street. I'm not gonna strap it to the back of a bicycle. I'm gonna drive.
Well, and they openly admit on this. Of course, they use interesting language, but they pretty much admit affordable transportation choices is one of the sections here. And they basically admit that one of the goals is to get you out of your car or get X a percent of people out of their car. And they, of course, blame gas prices. Rising and erratic gas prices are taking a larger part of family budgets, money that goes out of the local economy. Complete streets help support options that make communities more resilient to spikes in gas prices. Now, I interpret that as we don't want you to drive. We want to try to push you. Now, look, again, family budgets, there's a lot that goes into family budgets, whether that's eating out, whether it's buying your kid every video game or whatever they need. You can get less expensive food, there's a lot of ways you can compensate. You can take less trips to the cabin. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, that's what I've done as a result of gas prices. And I don't understand why a family budget is something that we have to redo our streets to address.